Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Betterment Broadcast. Now, I'm going to share what we traditionally do when we start our program, just so you know why we're doing the Betterment Broadcast, what it's all about. For those who are new, let me now let me share my screen, old school way. Da, da, da. And then we go there, and here we are. Voila! So once again, the Betterment Broadcast is the seventh show. It looks like, and let's get into read mode. Boom. So the reason we have a Black Bear broadcast, the reason why we talk about Black Bear, because unfortunately, after much research, I've unfortunately concluded that currently Black people are collectively inadequate. And that is a very heavy load to bear, a truth that's quite piercing. However, by realizing this truth, we can work towards betterment. And there's a history of why this is, and we can go throughout the show, but that's what it is. All right, cool. So we're going to move down. So in order for us to have this show, I'm pushing forward something we call the 4D values, right? This makes us be able to negotiate and talk and all the rest of it very easy. And those 4D values are these. They are discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment. If whenever we speak, we can practice these, then hopefully we can find solutions and conclusions much more swiftly and to the betterment and liking of everyone involved. That's the plan. Right. So what is Black Betterment? Black Betterment is a lifestyle. So right now, this broadcast and this word Black Betterment is to promote a lifestyle of Black Betterment. So what is that lifestyle exactly? Let's break it down. It's Black people helping Black people on Black issues for betterment. There you go. So now that's out of the way. Welcome everyone here, and we had a great guest last week, as in the guest. So the format that happens just before I go on, basically every week, two people or one. They have a particular topic they wish to talk about in regards to Black Betterment. And what happens is they come in, they have like a 5 to half an hour speech or presentation, whatever it is, and then we, maybe a 1-2 discussion back and forth, and then we invite people who are live to jump in and pick the brains and just back and forth, right? So last week we had Brother Darren, and he had quite a lot to say. Very, very important stuff, very powerful, strong stuff. So this week is his theme. So his theme, he's picked around the issue of, I guess we could say negotiating, but let me not waste no time. So Brother Darren, are you there? Can you hear me? Let me turn his mic on. Oh, there we go.
Yes, sir, I'm here.
There you go. There you go. Very nice. Very nice. So Brother Darren, as you know, last week you were very strong with your opinions and very needed. And this week you've been invited back because we need that kind of strength and that clarity. So I understand this week you want to have your own particular topic that you want to push forward for us to back and forth and have a great debate. So, or I should say reasoning, to be honest. You can introduce yourself and what you're about, and then present what you wish to talk about, if you don't mind.
Excellent. Thanks again for allowing me to do this short segment today, brother. Really appreciated. First and foremost, thanks to one and all joining us tonight. Always great to know that the family's out supporting. So thank you again. What we're looking to do tonight is have a quick discussion surrounding speaking with so-called people in power. Are you going to put that particular slide on now, Brother Raven, or a bit later on?
No, what you do is do your speech. I'm aware that my mic might be quite quiet, as it's something that I'm hearing. So I'm just going to see if I can switch over now. But if you can hear me, I'm going to talk loud. Let me fix my mic. Hold on. Oh, is that loud? Yeah, I'm using the high one.
That's much better. Much better.
There you go. Boy, there you go. Look at that power. Yeah. So, that sounds a bit more echoey. Yeah. So, yeah. Is that better?
Yeah.
Excellent. These
much better.
Phantom power mics. Anyway, what I was saying is, So present what you're saying, and what I'll do is I'll jump in with a presentation to complement it afterwards, if that makes sense.
Excellent. So what's been brought to my attention this last week and a bit is our brother Ice Cube in the USA. Some of you may know him if you follow rap or hip hop. Was formerly from NWA and then struck out on his own and did a good few albums back in the 90s. Definitely was my soundtrack as I was a young 16-year-old at that time. Anyway, let's fast forward to 2020. So our brother Ice Cube has brought about, with some other intellectuals as well, what's known as the Contract with Black America. Now, within this contract, he discusses various items in there which he believes would elevate our black brothers and sisters within America. He speaks of such things such as bank lending reform, Federal Reserve and government pensions, finance oversight, personal data and credit, judicial reforms, and my favourite, Police Reform Act. So those are just a few of the matters he's taken to hand with others in the community to put this forth to the powers that be. Now, the interesting thing is, he has spoken to both the Democrat Party and also the Republican Party. So what he's done his best to be is be very partisan in respect of what he believes can help us. But more importantly, it was both parties which reached out to our brother Ice Cube, not the other way around. Now, the irony is, what you have with the Democrat Party and others, our so-called brothers and sisters who do support the Democrat Party, they believe brother Ice Cube, number one, had no right in speaking with the likes of Donald Trump and his Republican Party. And number two, who is Ice Cube? Who is he, of all people, to speak on such matters? So it's a case now, do we believe those in entertainment or sports should speak up on our behalf if they had valid points? Number two, who, if any, should we be relying on to speak up on our behalf if it's not being done already? So that's my opening for this evening.
Okay, fantastic. Excellent. So it's nice back and forth you started there. Now, before I jump into add to that and to get others' opinion, what I would say is this. I'm now going to give a small presentation, very small, and hopefully that will correlate with where I'm going to go afterwards. I'm hoping. So let's just have a thing. So where we go? There we go. So I'm going to talk about a concept, a symbolic concept known as Black Betterment points. Just bear with me right now, right? So what are Black Betterment points? Now, if we look here, I don't know if you can see my screen. Hopefully you can zoom. It ain't too small. I'll try to read that for you guys. We have two people, right? We have Jafari Kananga and a guy called Jack Oliver. Both of them are black brothers, by the way, despite the imagery. They're both black brothers, right? Now, when we look at the lifestyles of these two individuals, when we look at Jafari, right, he owns his own business. That's very good. Give him 15 points for that. Black-owned business. Well done. All right. He trains black boys football skills. Very good. That's very handy. Okay. He organizes Black History movie nights for black people. 5 points for that. Well done. He protests black rights. Okay, good. 11 points. Good man. All right. And then we've got what? Name his child African name. That's nice. Well done. 7 points for that. And he's married to a black woman. That's amazing. He's got 17 points for that. Well done. Now, we'll look at Jack Oliver here. All right. He owns a stamp collecting business. That's great. His own business, black owned, 15 points. Well done. All right. He trains people how to fish. Okay, that's people. I guess you don't get any Black Betterment points for that, but well done. All right. He organizes women rights debates. That's great for women. We love women, of course we do. But that's not really a black issue unless you're talking about black women. So no points for that. He protests gay rights. That's great. Make sure gays have rights. However, he hasn't mentioned black, so we can't really put it as a Black Betterment thing. And also, he named his child an Albanian name. That's cool, I guess. All right, cool. Big up with that. And he's married to a non-black woman. Now, what I'm saying is, we have these two people here. We have Jack Oliver and Jafari Kananga. Let's go to the next slide. See what's happening. All right. So we're talking about collaborators versus critics. All right. Two big things there. Collaborators versus critics. All right. Let's move on. So there we go. So we have Mr. Kananga at the side here, right here. You see here, and he's saying black people, we must do better. Now he might be deemed a collaborator because he's got 64 Black Betterment points. Meaning, when you look at this guy's lifestyle and everything he does, he kind of looks like he's trying to work with black people to do better. However, when you look at Oliver now, all right, kind of not really correlating that way. I mean, maybe he does, but we're kind of missing a lot. All right. There we go. Can you guys hear me? Because I think someone said, "Are you talking to the room or the mic?" That's a late response. I thought I turned my mic up, but I could be wrong.
I can hear you fine.
So that was cool. That's good. All right. Well, sorry, John, if you can't hear me, I'll see if I can turn up my frequency, but I think it might just be your speakers at this point. But either way, I'll go on because people can hear me. Yeah. So basically, where was I? Bum. Yeah. So this is the concept that I'm bringing forward to you, brother, to help correlate with what you're saying, and that is, we have collaborators and critics, right? And when we talk, is a brother like Ice Cube, is he someone who can speak up for Black issues and more specifically the African American or descendants of slavery community in America? Well, he seems to have a history, even as a rapper, of always bringing up issues that towards Black people doing better. I mean, he first came out when he was talking about police injustice, and then he invented gangster rap, and then he left NWA and he started hanging more around with the Nation of Islam and these kind of people, and Public Enemy produces Bomb Squad, and his music always kind of correlated with kind of Black issues and Black people doing better and Black certain kind of stuff. So my thing is, generally I would like people who are more dedicated to like the social issue to speak up on it. But I think Ice Cube is a brother who generally took the time, and I believe I could be wrong, but I believe he actually had meetings with the collective group known as ADOS, like the heads of those, and they gave him some kind of back and forth or something. I could be wrong. So to answer your question, well, I guess I'm putting more things out there. That's how I see it. I would look at someone like Ice Cube as a collaborator. But after my presentation, does that make any kind of sense, brother Darren? Is that something that makes any more sense at all?
You've hit the nail on the head there, brother. So yeah, he has had various conversations with ADOS. He's also had a internal team of well-adjusted, well-versed people who has helped him create this document as well. And more importantly, he hasn't said this document is the be-all and end-all. It is a living document. And I'll just give a quick thank you out to our brother Dean Okai Sr. Thank you, brother. I should have said non-partisan in respect of brother Ice Cube speaking to both parties. Right. Not partisan being if you have an allegiance to a said party. Right. Mr. Cube said he is non-partisan.
There you go. Big up my brother Okai. He was on the show a few weeks back. Done a fantastic job, as he usually does, to be honest. So no one's surprised there. And hopefully, if he wants, he can jump in after we do a small presentation back and forth. So what is your? I mean, do you have any personal views, brother Darren, about what the situation that's going on in the States at the moment with the whole Ice Cube and that kind of stuff?
Quite frankly, I think Trump being in power is the absolute best thing ever happened to African Americans.
Do you want to explain that?
And let me elaborate further, because I can imagine there's a lot of people thinking, has he lost his mind? Right. Let's think on this. Before then, whom did we have? Mr. Obama. Well, we had quite a lot of us, in my opinion, both sides of the pond, who thought, we've made it, and kind of went to sleep. What happened in the tenure of those 8 years of Mr. Obama? A lot of strife, a lot of killing. And let's not even get into that Africa situation with what Mr. Obama did over there. Let's just stick with the US and mostly with the US. So it's a case where Black Americans didn't really move at one iota with him being in tenure. He comes out of office. Here comes the rise of Trump and all of his ilk. Well, some Black Americans had to get on code, whether that was forced or not, to understand, we really are all we've got. We've now got people openly coming out, saying what they openly feel about us, and they're saying it without any issue or problem at all. So this has meant a lot of people have had to look within themselves and really think to themselves, well, wait a minute, am I a collaborator? Or am I actually just one of them teeth in the night? So with brother Ice Cube doing what he's always done, as far as I'm concerned, like I said, you listen to his songs, hell, he was even accused of being anti-Semitic. against women and against gays and so on and so forth. You know, the usual tropes they love to throw at black hip hop artists. So he's been through it. All of this is nothing new to him. So for him to step up yet again, I don't have a problem with it. For the simple fact is, those who are so-called bastions in the so-called African American community, they're not really doing what they're supposed to do. They're really not. On top of that, you have plenty of organizations over there. You have the Black Caucus. You have the so-called National Negroes Convention. And it's a case of, well, what exactly are they doing? Why are we not hearing from them? But yet, when Ice Cube steps up with a very valid document, speaks to both parties, is accused of, number one, not being the right person to speak to such parties, the Democrat and the Republican, and number two, he's the wrong person to either be talking on such issues. So, yeah, quite some duplicitous, snaky behavior right there. And quite frankly, it really just goes to show, especially both sides of the pond, just how politically unsavvy some of us are, not understanding that actually you do need to work with certain parties whom are in power. Because if you take our situation in the UK, it's much more dire than in the US. We don't have a Black Caucus. We don't have an NAACP. We don't have nothing. So who do we speak to over here? So I'll leave it at that for now.
Right. Okay. So you raised a lot of points there, but very good ones. He was criticized. You said something there that is he best qualified, right? Now, there's two things you look at there. It's one, he probably made more ground in the small time he was dealing with the issue there than many of dedicated companies to the particular cause he's raising because he has the platform, right? So
True.
So I believe he spoke to like the ADOS collective, right? So is that something that we should congratulate him and recommend people do that when sporting celebrities and music celebrities try to have agendas or they try to push certain agendas, they actually are talking to collective bodies and institutions that are dedicated to those particular issues. Is that do you reckon that he gets some points for that? Like, that's something that definitely was merit.
In my book, that's a very big yes. Right. Because what we have in this world globally, we have a case where literally we as a black race, African race, apparently it's only we can only be seen in the light of the world when our entertainers and sports stars speak for us. Right. A lot of them are ill-informed, ill-advised, if they seek counsel at all, and some are just downright ridiculous. Right. However, when you do it correctly, like our brother Ice Cube did and has done, I have no problem with that. I'll be the first to put it out there. I'm not a fan of our entertainers or sports stars speaking on certain topics which actually relate to the community, we as a people. Right. I'm one of the first to put it out there. However, if it's done correctly, if you're bringing in the right people, brother, represent us fully.
So you're saying
I am behind
you. So you're talking more about like a protocol, right? Like if any person wishes to speak on like black issues, have a protocol. Like, okay, I'm going to speak, but there's certain things I should do before I do this. I should be checking the grassroots or checking like organizations that are more dedicated to this, to maybe even, if necessary, bring them on board. Really, like you turn up with the people who actually are dedicated to those particular issues. I guess could that maybe that kind of protocol come in? Would that be something we should be teaching the community? Maybe, I don't know.
Well, this is it. You see, brother Raven, you could say protocol. I would call it common sense.
Yeah.
It's- you're being very kind there, but yeah, you cannot ultimately say a protocol. Once again, why am I going to try and speak on chemistry when I am not a scientist?
Right.
When I've never done chemistry,
Right.
it's crazy. Please do your research, or at least seek those whom are qualified to speak on said
Right.
topics. So to me, like I said, it's just a very common sense thing to do.
Right.
But like I said, the critical thinking, the strategic critical thinking, what needs to be done within our community, not that it's lacking, it just needs to be brought to the forefront.
Right.
And yeah, quite a few of us really need to learn that skill as well.
So looking to our brothers in America, brothers and sisters in America, yeah, I'm seeing like a pattern. Like I would say I don't see all the news, so I might miss some stuff, but it does seem that a lot of the news reports when it comes to black issues, they are actually talking to celebrities and sport personalities, and not necessarily to dedicated bodies or experienced people in that field. Do you reckon that might actually be I by mistake? Or do you reckon that might be a plan, or maybe I don't know, at least from a political standpoint?
I would say that's always been the blueprint,
Right,
both sides of the pond.
right,
Hey, let's not bother speak to the average Joe or Mary on the street.
mm,
Let's go to the celebrities. They're well known. Yeah, they represent the black people.
mm,
So yeah, it's a very troubling dynamic they've got with us when they deal with us in media. Once again, I'm not going to harp on exactly how we're portrayed in the media. I'm sure all of our brothers and sisters who are thankfully listening to us both tonight know only too well how it goes,
right,
how we're portrayed, and why we're portrayed in such a manner. So yeah, unfortunately, they're just following the usual blueprint, what works for them.
right. Okay. Um, well, I think maybe that's something that we could pick up. Like one thing, words that really make sense is the concept of tangibles, like where something is asked for. And one thing I know is politically, it's more so in the States, but I guess here as well, is when you're asking for tangibles, like what are you going to do for us as a community? They never really talk about economics too much or anything like that, or reparations or these kind of things. Fair enough. They tend to talk about things like reforming police interactions with the black community. So I always think that's an interesting thing there, where you talk about what we're going to do for you is we're going to stop the police from harming you. It's, it's it's like, so if you don't vote for us, it will continue. I don't know. It's just it's very interesting concept that I don't know, but yeah. I mean, do we see anything like that going on in England at all? Like, is are there UK artists who are talking up for black issues more so than dedicated bodies? Do we have dedicated bodies for that? On a certain level or plateau or anything like that?
Well, as I explained before, in terms of our in comparison to our brothers and sisters in the US, we're far behind.
Right.
We're not even touching them yet.
No.
As I said, we don't have any establishments like they have,
Right.
such like I said, the NAACP, the Black Caucus.
Mm.
We don't have that. So, in respect of our best and brightest coming up, sitting up and speaking for us, they do what they can.
Right.
But like I said, we don't run the media, so they can only do what they can.
Right.
In respect of that lovely police reform,
Right.
it seems to be a lovely issue no matter where you are. If you're black, if you're wearing the uniform, you're gonna know about it.
Mm.
So yeah, regardless of where you are, it seems the police have a very fond or unhealthy obsession with how they treat us. And let's not get it right. Let's not get it wrong here. Not all of them are wrong. Not all of them are bullies. Not all of them shouldn't even wear the badge what they apparently wear. But there's quite a few out there which still reek of that institutional racism. So yeah, it's very, very disturbing when you hear, oh, we need police reform. Oh yes, because all us black people are rebels, or more to what they would say, we're all thieves and miscreants.
Mm.
No, no, we don't all commit crime. Yes, crime in anyone's neighborhood is not good. But once again, we can go in even deeper. Well, why does crime occur in poor neighborhoods? Once again, I'm not dealing with unintelligent people here. We know why. We know where the word ghetto comes from. But like I said, that's kind of digressing into another talk right
what
there.
we could do is we could ask, just so it goes on you, the format after the brothers and sisters present, their topic. We allow debates via the text through the forums, and then obviously we post the link and people can jump in. Not everyone generally likes to come live to speak. I understand that. So before I push the link, what do you guys feel in the forums about Brother Ice Cube's decision to speak? I guess it's speaking to Donald Trump. Speak to Donald Trump. Sorry, was that right? Was that correct or not correct in your opinions? I guess we can make it that simple, right? Was it the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do in your opinion? Brother Ice Cube speaking to Donald Trump. So we'll push that out there. Whatever people think about that. And what I'm going to do is, and I don't know if there's Brother Darren, I don't know if there's anything you want to talk about as well, because after you finish, what I'll do is I'm going to push the link out, and then people can join when they want, and they can add their 10 pence piece to the conversation, if that, but it's only once you're happy that you've landed. So IC3 says yes. I believe that's to the question that it was correct to talk to Trump. Hopefully he'll jump on. He'll give us his reason why, if he wants to do that a bit later. He's always got a great opinion.
True.
Yeah, always got a great opinion. So, but are we okay with that? Of me inviting others when you finish your segment? Is that okay?
Yeah, I would say at this moment in time, I've probably discussed as much as we can right now. I'm just more interested to hear what our lovely brothers and sisters have got to tell us right now, and see if there's anything we can either learn in terms of what we can do here in the UK. Well, heck, Brother Raven, you're doing it anyway. We're here, and yeah, let's see what we can do to boost ourselves here.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, one thing I did want to talk about, and because obviously with the States, things happen at such fast rate that there's definitely a learning period you can have. And right now, there seems to be some like organization going that's quite good. What I'm really seeing, but I'm also seeing some confusion. And a brother just mentioned the ADOS community, so maybe this week and next week we can talk about it, because obviously, for those who don't know what ADOS is in America, there's a collective, and they're called the American Descendants of Slaves. And what they're trying to do is get reparations for the people, for the people who were taken from Africa, who were enslaved as child slavery in the Americas. If I believe that's correct, right? And what they're saying is we want reparations for them, and I believe also for Jim Crow as well. And I think some of the confusion might come through that there are some brothers and sisters from Africa or the Caribbean who don't necessarily qualify for that reparations. And I mean, maybe some of them might feel the same way about that. So, but that's a discussion that we should be having one time. Who knows, right?
Indeed.
Yeah. So it's maybe this week and next week we could discuss that. But I've posted, just so you know, guys, I've posted the link in the actual forum. So if anyone wants to jump in, now's the time. Now we have Brother IC3. Is it cool if I add Brother IC3, Darren? Brother Darren?
Please do.
Okay, Brother IC3, I'm adding you now. So I'm Mike and say hi, everyone. Hi, Brother IC3, how's it going?
Yes, good evening. Good evening. Yes,
right.
Really interesting topic for the evening.
Good. Well, I noticed that when I asked, was it correct for Brother Ice Cube to talk to Donald Trump? You said yes. Do you believe that? Is that right?
Yes, I think Black people should utilize any opportunity to speak to power or to begin a conversation, dialogue with power.
So, I mean, I'm going to remember some of the comments that people said, and one of them was, should you try to negotiate with suspected anti-Black racists? And your answer to that would be.
Sorry, brother. Is that a question for me or IC3?
Well, IC3, but once again, any question can jump to anyone if it sparks any kind of good feedback. And before you guys start, let me just say welcome, Sister Bay, to the group. There you go. So carry on. Welcome, Sister Bay.
Hi everyone. Hi Raven.
All right.
Hiya.
Hi there.
So Brother IC3 was going to explain if black people should negotiate with suspected anti-black racists in politics. And Brother IC3, go ahead.
Yes, I believe so. Because what's that saying? I can't remember the saying, but they say that was it negotiation or something or talking is just civilized. Uh, Rather than physical war, you talk. So the battle takes place over the table. So and plus there's lots of sayings like, was it jaw is better than war? I can't remember who said that. Yeah. So in that being the case, most of your most serious conversations will be dealing with the enemy.
Yes,
that's dealing with your competitor. So that's what that's where negotiation skills are required at their highest level.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if anybody disagree with that.
Sister Betty's just jumped in, but I don't know if Brother Darren wanted to jump in on just before she jumps in on that particular thing.
That was absolutely perfect there, IC3. Nothing you said there I disagree with there. Just before Sister Betty says her piece there, I'll just quickly jump onto some of the chats or what people have put. Our friend Organized Chaos, you've asked about ADOS in terms of what they speak and what they don't. I'm not here to promote ADOS. I'm not really the biggest fan of ADOS because in terms of promoting as holy, I don't really believe they are fully for us. They've got quite a bit of an agenda. Number two, in terms of like reparation, for example, you look on their manifesto, it's extremely low on the pecking order, amongst other things, which is very, I would say, is more primary to the African American struggle. Coco Brownie, you asked if this is going to be more about the US. No, this also reflects us in the UK as well. Ironically, forgive me for giving the usual phrase, when America catches a cold, you know the rest. So yes, there is a close alignment with our brothers and sisters in the US and us.
Sister Betty?
Is this in relation to negotiating with racists?
Yeah, so the question is, what do you think Brother Ice Cube was correct, not correct for negotiating with Donald Trump? And I guess to further extent, can black people negotiate with suspected anti-black racists? That's the kind of title, I guess.
Oh, I think yeah, because at the end of the day, African Americans have been there like 400 years, so they've been negotiating for 400 years. If they didn't negotiate, they would be brutalized, for another 400 years, and that goes for people. If you're in a very white place, you do have to negotiate with them. Because at the end of the day, if you don't learn how to negotiate with them, even if you go to a black country, they follow black people there anyway. Do you know what I mean? So
exactly. Good point.
Right, and to answer the question about the US, like I said, yeah, things that happen in the US, the way I look at it is there's a lot we can learn here of what to do and what not to do when it comes to interacting and Black Bear and this kind of stuff. But I've noticed, like, just so you don't know, Ice Cube, he spoke to a collective known as ADOS, American Descendants of Slaves, and there is one or two messages in the group saying that that one of the issues they feel in the group is I think Brother Alka said either should speak to other African groups as diplomats and not insult them. So I am getting that vibe that there is this kind of like insult going on, and one thing we have to learn here and is it took us a very long time for Black people from different nations and countries and religions and groups to get on the same page. So we definitely don't want to trigger any kind of disagreements once we finally get it. So I think that's why when we remember the values, that when we start doing things, especially when we interact with Black people, if we can show discipline and dignity and discernment as well, then then that should help. But I have noticed on Twitter, not that you should retake Twitter, because there's many people that we know, it's all phantom accounts and stuff. But you do get this tribalism. No, that's the right word to be honest. But this kind of like footballism, whatever, right? Of us and them, and you did this, we did that, and I think that's something we need to watch. Like that's something we need to watch. Me personally, if I was living in a country and I went to move there and they're trying to get reparations, I would support that. I do not personally need to get reparations from a country that I'm staying in. If I have a reparations claim, me personally, I will take it up with the country that enslaved my ancestors, and I'm coming from Dominica and Jamaica, therefore meaning it's England. Maybe a bit of Spain and French, maybe here and there, I don't know. But generally, it's England. That I'll take my claim with. While the American descendants of slaves, their direct problem is with the American government who benefited off in child slavery that their ancestors went through. But I think when it comes to respect, one thing is when we are talking about these topics, respect is very important, and discipline and dignity. So yeah, that's my 1 pence piece on that. Brother Darren, anything else? You want to take it somewhere?
Yeah, so once again, you've gone on to the other part in terms of let's speak on ADOS a little bit there, because once again, another reason why I'm not too keen on them as well, right. Just like for Dean, as I'm also put in the group, this, excuse the language, everyone, bitching about other black people, not a good look, right. Not a good look. Right. You don't have to agree with everybody on everything. Heck, white people don't agree with their own on everything. But hey, when you're going towards a common goal, you better get on code, or you better at least, between all of you, come up with an ideology to follow. Right. And with the one thing that I really did not appreciate, Yvette Carnell and Brother Antonio in the ADOS movement was when they started to attack Dr. Claude Anderson. Right. That was below the belt. That to me was an absolute no-no. For example, Dr. Claude Anderson, I'm sure we all know who he is. I really would love to have that brother over here before he calls it quits. But yeah, he's put civil lawsuits against the government in respect of looking for reparations. Well, Brother Antonio from ADOS, you're supposedly an attorney. You haven't. Right. What's your problem?
What was the attack?
Dr. Anderson.
What was the attack? What was the attack? You said they attacked. Is it ADOS representative attacked Dr. Claude Anderson? Is it? Wow.
Indeed.
What happened
Sister,
there?
Well, they reckoned they wasn't too happy with Dr. Claude Anderson's past dealings with a business he had when he was doing agriculture. So they decided to call it out and, try and do the Aries dirty laundry and then try and attack his powernomics and so forth. Okay. And it's always a funny case. Okay, you're going to attack one person. What have you got to offer?
Oh, right. I thought it was they attacked Dr. Claude Anderson because he wanted to include the Caribbeans or Africans within the reparations claim. No, I didn't know it was about. I'm not interested in them attacking him in his business. That's airing his dirty laundry. I thought it was a principle. Yes. It was a principle position that they disagreed with. Oh, so it's a load of confusion.
Brother, they probably did all of the above because they're not happy with including anyone outside of so-called African descendants of our enslaved in terms of America. So they're not willing to entertain the likes of you and me from Jamaican ancestry. So apparently, well, yes, my foremothers were enslaved as well. Well, we don't care. We're just looking about African Americans. Yeah, you might have a bit of a hard task on that one. I mean, we all should be working as a collective because ultimately, who are the whites in America? Europeans. Where did they come from? Europe. There was no white Americans. They all originated from Europe. Right. So ultimately, if you follow the string, guess what? It leads back to Europe. So yes, granted.
Let me just ask this question, Ben. And then you can jump in for a second. Just so I know, what, because obviously the ADOS collective, the way that the stuff the whole way they're behaving on that particular thing, I can't agree with, but they're making a very particular claim, right? Is there something you would like to change about that claim, that you want to be more inclusive? Like, explain that, just because they're holding on a very particular group, right? So if you had to like reform or update, what is it that you would want to change that would make you, I guess, more correlate with what they're doing?
All of our disparate groups around the globe, in the diaspora, whether you want to talk about ADOS, CARICOM, and so forth, ultimately, in my opinion, we should all be working together.
Right.
It's very simple. We're stronger together.
Right.
If you all are all fighting for one common goal with one common voice, with one ideology, oh yeah, you're gonna make the power that be prick up their ears and actually get a little bit uncomfortable, because they're suddenly realizing, oh, not disparate little groups here and there. What do I need to listen to you for? Oh, wait a minute, you're all on code now. Maybe I do have to look at you in a bit more reverence now.
I think. Go on. Sorry. Go on.
No, I was going to say, just to follow up on that. So are you saying, like, as long as there are particular goals, like Caribbean, they want reparations, the Americans want reparations, we work together, but obviously in that working together, the Caribbean are going after the Europeans from the English coast, and the Americans are going after the Americans from the American coast, might be right. Is that what you're saying? Or are you saying that no, it should be one unanimous claim for everything? Just so I can understand.
Well, personally, I don't see why it shouldn't be one unanimous claim. In one form or another, it's still a case where, well, wait a minute, who benefited from this? Ultimately, are you not European? Yes, you are. So you didn't originate in America. You went there and got the spoils of of the bats of the enslaved. That's what you did, and that's what was the seed money to what we know today, to the technological revolution, the industrial revolution. We, as you all know, brothers and sisters, we were the stocks and bonds of the day. So, quite frankly, the world as we know it, if it wasn't for us, there would not be the world as we know it.
Okay.
So, yes, ultimately, there's a heck of a lot of people who need to be paying up and assisting us with the reparations. And let me just add, reparations is not just a monetary aspect. If you think about what it actually cost our enslaved forefathers, it is not just a monetary aspect. But you better believe it's going to help a heck of a lot of our brothers and sisters out there.
Right. Sister Betty, did you want to jump in, or was it IC3? I can't remember.
Yeah, I wanted to say about Claude Anderson, but you've mentioned something else. I think some of the criticisms of Dr. Claude Anderson is, I think they said he wanted to invest in the prison industrial complex. So that's why some black folk are, giving him shade. But in relation to this reparations thing, if African Americans want to have reparations and they don't want to include Caribbeans and Africans, I think if they say they did get that reparations, it would end up being a domino effect anyway. Because that's a big country, and it's one of the biggest economies in the world. If they start giving out reparations to African Americans, then it's then going to just cause other Africans around the world to say, well, if they're getting a check, we want a check, and then the Caribbeans and the Africans will start demanding. Do you see what I mean? Because I know
agree.
The Caribbean nations are already taken Britain to court, for reparations anyway. So
yeah, I think, me personally, I think there's a lot of misunderstanding. I think misunderstanding comes from the semi-tribalism, social wars, and harsh words that goes on between groups. But I think generally, as a strategy, I think it kind of makes sense to like home in on certain sections, and the ADOS is doing that, right? Or the Foundation of Black Americans, or the African American community, they're doing that, right? They're focused on the government that's directly in their land, what they directly did to the citizens of their land. and they want reparations for it. So I think that makes sense. I think where it becomes muddy water is where you say that and then there's an insult, and now it's like us and them kind of stuff. And like Sister Betty said, anything that works one place can work another place, and it actually can be the motivational drive that makes everyone get on code and work to like one unified kind of goal. So yeah, that's and that's I guess what I'm also trying to do here is like, and one thing I'm learning from the Americans is is when they disagree, a lot of the primal speakers, they tend to really go like from 0 to 100 of like anti. I don't like this person, right? And I think we should maybe try not to go down that path. Like, if we don't agree with certain policies or certain Black people's ideas, let's agree to disagree. But let's not necessarily try to make a commitment of just undermining and semi-warring, because that then easily becomes the focus, and then the actual goals and message becomes easily muddied, and we start talking about things that's not actually the primal plan. So that's for people in England and definitely outside America who was practicing Black betterment. I would definitely recommend, if you are two individual Black people who are trying to help Black people collectively, right? But you have a disagreement. It works in Black people's interest if you don't publicly have your back and forth disagreements. If you privately try to maybe have a meeting or a discussion, or just disagree and not speak about each other, I would say from the history that might be something that works. And I believe Sister Frances Cress Wilson, sorry, one of the things she was saying, I remember when she was alive, she even tried to push down some rule that she doesn't believe that two Black people should go on any kind of show and debate Black issues, because there's almost a guarantee it might come to a massive, outpouring of emotion and disagreements and undermining. So this is what she pushed forward. But so just hearing what you guys are saying and just adding to it.
Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
What does Frances say? So if she doesn't want Black people to disagree in public, so what does she say? Just disagree in private?
No. So what I can remember from all the videos that I saw of her, she was saying that I think Neely Fuller said it as well to an extent. I can't remember, because a lot of the things she said, what he actually would say as well. But I think it was bickering on a TV station where the topic is some kind of Black topic, and you're on there bickering with another Black leader or a Black manager and stuff. It doesn't necessarily look good for what you're actually discussing. And I think that there's a video circulating from the past of where Muhammad Ali and Sly Johnson, I believe, Sly and the Family Stone, were on, and I think they were, Muhammad Ali was trying to tell him, look, we don't need to be arguing here. Like, we're here to help Black people, so you don't need to like undermine me in front of all the Europeans and the white people, whatever it might be. And I don't think Sly got that right. He wasn't. I don't think he was part of any organization that checked him, because when you go on TV, it might not be in your best interest to argue straight away with the Black person who's trying to help Black people, even if you disagree with his strategies. He's here to ultimately help you and your family, so you don't need to really throw him under the bus like that. And I believe that when we are I could be wrong, but when we are talking about some of the disagreements with ADOS and Clyde, it's going down this kind of route where we're not actually focusing on the policies that they're trying to push forward. We're focused on the behavioral patterns. And then the behavioral patterns is then tarnishing the policies and the constructive benefits that could actually be very influential when it comes to nations outside of America. And this is the challenge I see that seems to permeate and escalate from many Black collectives, that the goal is forgotten, but the interaction becomes the main priority that people speak on. And I would like us maybe to review that and maybe to have a show about that. Like, how do we operate in public that's in the best interest of Black people collectively? But carry on, Sister Bay. Sorry about that. How about your question for my long rant there? Sorry.
Can I say also, I'm going to be honest, I honestly think if people are upset with ADOS for demanding a check, they were promised reparations, weren't they? They were promised 40 acres and a mule, and they never got it. So they're entitled to fight for their rights and fight from their own perspective. Mm-hmm. But I think Africans and Caribbeans who get mad at them because they're not included, it's just because we're inadequate and we don't demand a check. We envy African Americans and how they'll stand up and keep on fighting. I can say as an African, we just don't do anything. Do you know what I mean? You know, we just put up with a lot of the oppression, except for now in Nigeria. Obviously, Nigeria's kicking off, and Sudan kicked off, and Cameroon's kicked off. But I think we need to just learn from what African Americans are doing and inspire and demand a check too.
There you go. Brother Darren, did you want to jump in on that one?
Yeah, a few things I agree with Sister Bettery, and a few things I'll have to give my own opinion on there. Yes, you are right. It's Sister Betty when you say that the African Americans should go for theirs. Yeah, that's fine. Like I said, in an ideal world, what I'm saying is collaboration is always better. Always better. I don't think anyone can disagree with that one. And especially when it comes to us as a black race, yes, as an African race, excuse me, definitely it works in our best interest. The only thing I would take issue with you on is the aspect when, yeah, we hear a lot of this silliness from various people in the US talking about, oh, Africans and those from the Caribbean, they hate us because we're going for, you're asking for reparations from the US government. No, I don't like that rhetoric at all. I really, really don't. And that is one of the pieces of rhetoric we need to stop as well. Because once again, when we're talking about working with each other, well, heck, if we're going to be giving that kind of rhetoric, how's that showing camaraderie at all? So that kind of nonsense,
sorry, brother,
we need to leave
explain that out because my headset jumped on that. What did you say? What was it that they did? Sorry, that sounds interesting. What did you say? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There's certain people in the US, for example, the ADOS party for one, who love to give that rhetoric of, oh yes, and you got African Americans who are jealous and they don't want us to go for reparations. Those from the Caribbean, those who are African, just those who are non, full ADOS. Well, like I said we need to stop that rubbish and that nonsense rhetoric. Right. We really do. Because once again, as we've clearly know, we've got other organizations, both in the Caribbean, both in the UK, also putting our point across for reparations as well. So if we were so jealous, why have we got groups out there going for ours as well?
But you know what, Darren? Can I just say that sometimes, Darren, people talk out of pain. They are a lot of. When I grew up, I had a lot of bullying from Caribbean people, just because I was African, and they hated African, and I wasn't told as a kid that they descend from Africans, but a lot of it is out of pain. The projection and where they say, well, because I hear quite a lot of Caribbeans saying, oh, Africans don't like us, etc., etc., or I'm not African, this type of thing. But it's out of pain, and sometimes because they feel rejected. Do you know what I mean? And Africa hasn't been that great at even giving any type of compensation or any type of, like the call home. It's only recently in the last 2 years, Africa has put people who descend from slaves in Region 6. You know what I mean? So they do have a right to be angry at the leadership in Africa. But I think you just have to realize that sometimes people talk out of pain. Because there's this sort of comment where saying Africans hate us. Well, no one's ever met all Africans to even say that. Some of the people who are saying Africans hate us have never even stepped one foot on African soil to even know whether Africans generally hate Caribbeans. But do you see what I mean? People just talk about pain a lot of time with no logic.
Yeah, I hear you, sis. I hear you. Like you said, there's a lot of pain out there in our black communities, no matter where we are based. No matter where we are based. So I can fully appreciate that. I fully can, because the pain hasn't stopped from when we was supposedly freed from slavery. The pain hasn't stopped just because we were able to interact with non-black people. No, it's still going on right this second. But, and the big but is, we've got to be more, less selfish and, less selfish and get up out of our feelings.
I hear
We really need to start looking at the bigger
that.
picture.
Two things now. We've got a new joiner as in Razor SC15. So welcome, Razor SC15.
Good
First
evening.
time. Good
Hi,
evening.
Razor
Good
SC15.
evening, brother Darren. Good evening, everybody on the chat.
Evening,
Good
Razor.
evening. How you doing? You right?
And by all means, brother, just and when the time comes, just jump in with your opinion. But is there anything you'd like to say at the moment before as you jumped in?
I just want to quickly say, like, majority of the time I'm on the net anyway. So this whole ADOS movement is divisive, if that's the right word to use. I think a lot of people, the sister was talking about a lot of pain.
Mhm.
I think like Americans, not by any racial category, are genuinely not curious about the outside world. So if you apply that to black, it's almost like, like there's other black people that exist. Do you know what I mean? It's just,
Right.
the largest concentration of African people of the diaspora exists mainly in Britain and France. Maybe that's the reason why I don't like niggas in Paris. I don't know, but I just think there was people before the ADOS movement who were asking for reparation. I wish I remembered the name. I know it's a light skinned brother with natural hair. He's been on a few American programs, but there was a lot more people dealing with this way before, like this Yvette Carnell and this other dude. You know what I mean? Just promoting all this xenophobia and all this nonsense.
Well, okay, so here's my job. So I have to look for patterns, right? And I see there's a value in black people coming together. And sometimes we come together, you have to have new arrangement skills and new formations of how you actually get a particular goal. So what I'm recognizing is this concept could fly over to the UK or Paris or wherever it might be. So how do we prepare ourselves to make sure that we don't end up with this kind of same sentiment and feeling? So what I'm saying is, what could the ALOS movement, in your opinion, for this more so to Brother Darren and Brother Razor, what could they have done to make you not feel this way? What could they have done?
I'll let Brother Razor go first.
All right, thank you. Like the Americans have had the internet for years. They could, we could easily reach out to each other and chat to each other and make all kind of links. I know there's some people who have done that. Brothers like Dr. Umar and certain other people out here. I know Black Dot came over here a couple of times. We went to about Birmingham and that. There's certain people in the conscious community, but I think the regular working class person, it doesn't take a lot to just have a conversation with someone just with your eyes and your heart open. Sorry, with your ears and your heart open. You don't need to. I'm not necessarily interested in any kind of personal attacks. It doesn't mean anything to me. It's too late in the game for that right now. You know what I mean?
Outside the person, so right now there are people who put ADOS hashtags on their Twitter and this kind of stuff, and they make personal attacks of people in the diaspora and all the rest of it. But outside of the actual personal stuff, what is it about the policies that might be most challenging to you? Because I'm trying to learn from this experience, because anything that happens, I want to be able to recreate and make sure we take what is productive and we disregard what is disruptive. So what is it that you reckon they could have done, or should they just flat out not have done what they've done? Just let us know. Just
I'll say this quickly before I let Brother Darren come in.
Yeah.
To be honest, I've seen too much nonsense, and when it comes to just chatting about, it's always this narrative that's being pushed. I don't know who the hell these handpicked people from the diaspora who go over to America and say, "I'm not black, I'm Jamaican," or "I'm not black, I am Burundian," or whatever the hell. I don't know who the hell these people are that they keep talking about. And it's always this whole, painting the wall with the same brush nonsense that I keep hearing in my head. It's like me saying all Americans are dumb, which really doesn't make any sense anyway.
No.
Do you understand? It's like that whole thing about there's just too much ways of communication and connection that we can have with each other. And we can't, we shouldn't really be denying each other anything. You know what I'm saying? It's like,
Mhm.
I'm not being funny, bruv. If I went to America, there's too many good-looking women who are black, but I would never even think about a white girl. You must be mad. No, just it's about communication. It's about just being open. You know, it's like we should stop treating each other like we're strangers. We really aren't. We're really not, you know.
Brother Darren, did you want to jump in and add to that?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's very similar to what we've all echoed there and Brother Razor there. Yeah, those so-called people who do get to speak on behalf of ADOS do sometimes, you know, they're a bit dangerous and silly at the same time, spouting rubbish as though they've met all the Jamaicans in the world, they've met all the Africans in the world. Jamaicans this, Jamaicans that. Oh, you're all again. Oh, shut up! Stop being silly. Really, stop it. It's just like our brother said, you haven't spoken to everyone, so stop, giving that silly nonsense. It's really unwarranted and not needed.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's a case of being more, just thinking more strategic, thinking more long term. You've got an issue with somebody, guess what? We're in the internet age. Be a grown up, pick up the damn phone and hash it out with that said person. Please. Be a bloody adult, okay? You don't need to bring in our personal beefs online. You got everybody else who's got beefs. Take the whites, take the Hispanics, and take the Asians. Oh, don't think for a second they're all on code and all agree with each other.
Really are not.
But when they do get on code, that's when somebody goes up against one of theirs. It's a case of, right, I may not like you today, Sanjay, but guess what? We got an outsider trying to do you wrong. Yeah, we are Indian together. Hey, John, wait a minute. What did that dude say to you? All right, you may be a Frenchie, but today we're in Team White. Right. So when we start playing these stupid, dangerous, foolish games of trying to, we're different from you because we're born here. You're different from us because you call yourself this. Yeah. And like you said, and like our brother rightfully said, we don't help ourselves when we also, number one, don't put ourselves as African above everything else. We want to call ourselves Jamaican, Barbadian, whatever else, instead of just, where's your actual country of origin? Right. Thank you very much. Enough said. And on top of that, when some of us like to take on the cultural aspects of our so-called places of birth, I do feel that when we get too westernized, certain westernized ways of thinking, ways of acting, that truly does dilute our actual true heritage as well. Hence, that, I would say it really doesn't help us in the long run.
So
Can I say something?
Let IC3 jump in.
Betty go first, then I'll say something after Betty.
Well, I think she's gave you the forum for now. She's muted the mic, so IC3.
Oh, okay. To the question you asked, what could, my understanding of your question is, what could ADOS have done better to have avoided this situation? Right. ADOS, as American descendants of slavery, they were working together, or they are working together with CDOS. Have you heard of CDOS?
Yes, Caribbean similar.
That's right. The Caribbean descendants of slavery. So, so what I think could have been done better is, I think it's based on this descendants of slavery and reparations. It's focused on the Atlantic slave trade. This is what I think it was. So because it was focused, the whole project for reparations appears to be focused on the Atlantic slave trade, the enslavement of African people in the triangle trade of the Atlantic. Reparations tend to be associated with slaves enslaved people in the Caribbean and enslaved people in the Americas, but it seems to be of no movement for the reparations for colonialism. So, the colonialism. So therefore, the Africans of the mainland, they don't see themselves as part of any claim for reparations for African enslavement, because they wouldn't see themselves as part of that. But they obviously know about colonialism and how that has impacted them. So because the topic of reparations has always been closely associated with the enslavement of people in the Caribbean and the Americas, that's why I guess that ADOS wanted to work together with CDOS, and that they both understand each other, but they're having difficulty with all these people, how they see it, coming from other parts of the world, not only just Africa, but and then taking advantage, as they might see it, of the benefits that have been won by the black people who are the descendants of slavery. They're hard-earned rights that they've fought for over a long period of time. So when an African comes from the mainland and is doing well in America, I heard this is the feedback I was getting, that they're very upset that the government and the institutions are trying to say, well, you're all black. It's the same for all of you. And the ADOS people, the American descendants of slaves, want to say, no, these people are descendants of Africans of the mainland. They are not descendants of slavery. So therefore, separation is required. Does that make sense in that quick summary?
I understand. Yeah, I understand what you said.
Well, I understand.
I think Sister Betty wanted to jump in on that one before, just because
yeah. I just wanted to say, all these labels in relation. I appreciate what brother Darren is saying, and I think your heart is in the right place when you're saying that people should think of themselves as African. But the fact of the matter is, they are people from the Americas and the Caribbean that don't want to be called African. Yeah. For whatever reason, it's normally just self-hate. But what I found is, when you run into these racist white folk, they'll let you know you're an African. So whether the Caribbeans and the Americans are claiming that they're native to the land, they're blah, 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 that when they run into the racists, they will be told what time it is. Yeah. And when I was the time when I was living on the border of Germany and the Netherlands, and I've never experienced being stopped by the police growing up in the UK. But when I moved there, I felt like a black man. All I had to do was just go over the border and they would stop me on the train. The train would be full of white folk going over the border to do some shopping in Germany. But my black butt was the one that got stopped. So all these people who don't want to associate with Africa, when you run into these racist white folk, they will let you know you're an African, whether you like it or not. So it doesn't matter if they say they're not African, because the racists are the ones controlling everything anyway. They let you know anyway.
Well, you've hit the nail on the head again there, Sister Betty, because it's what we did briefly go on this last week. Sorry, Brother Raven, because I know I'm trying not to speak on last week's topic, but yeah, we all agree. We're all seen as one giant Negro. It doesn't. They don't give a damn where if you're from America, the UK, France. They don't care. All they see is black. You is black, and you is black. It's plain and simple. So yeah, all them lovely people who want to call themselves any other label than African, that's your business. Because guess what? While we keep getting brutalized, we're not utilizing Africa as our sovereign nation, our sovereign continent, who we can call upon when our lovely oppressors are dealing with us in such a disparaging way outside Africa. Well, who are you going to call upon? Right. America?
So one thing
can I respond to Betty?
I want to
what Betty
to Betty as well.
Okay, let us, because
let IC3 go first.
Yeah, IC first, then Razor's next. If that's okay. Go on, brother.
Yeah. So Betty's experience is quite interesting. So how it appeared to me that Betty perceived that experience is that if she went across the border, what she experienced is that she her experience was because she was African, and I gather the point that she's making is that the white people just see, look, as long as you look African, you're an African. I would say I see it in the reverse order. I actually think that it's because an African looks like a black person that was enslaved, that they'll be treated as a descendant or as a black person, as a slave, rather than as do you understand? So Africans from the mainland who have not experienced slavery and do not want to associate themselves with the enslaved, because they look like the enslaved, then they will be treated like the enslaved. Does that make sense? And perceived like the enslaved, rather than the So I see it this same situation, but slightly inverted.
Yeah, just a different perspective. But they're both true. They're both true. But you know, for me, growing up in the UK, I've never been stopped by the police driving my car. You know what I mean? I heard a lot of black men complaining, but I never experienced it. The minute I moved to the Netherlands, that's when I knew. I thought, oh shit, is this what the black men are complaining about? It's what the brothers are complaining about. Oh, yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, get it.
It's not nice. It's really dehumanizing. One time I was bringing my laundry in because there was no laundry in the small Dutch town I was in, so I had to go to the laundrette in Germany. Even they went through my dirty laundry on the train. It was so embarrassing. Yeah, and you just think,
wow.
Yeah, my dear, you know what I mean? As a woman as well, did the rummaging, and the train is full of white folk. Yeah, and they just, and you know what I mean? And then the stereotypes are saying, I hope you're not bringing any, you haven't got any marijuana, have you? And I'm like, no. So just the stereotype, the German border police thought, because I'm black, I must smoke marijuana. It was quite a shock, you know, when you're not used to that type of thing. But yeah, I felt like a black man, to tell you the honest truth.
Wow.
So, brother Razor, did you want to add your perspective to?
Yeah, let me put my little 2 pence worth in. It's interesting that you was in the Netherlands because, you know, the legacy of slavery in the Netherlands is countries like Suriname, San Martin, Bartholomew, and Aruba. And I can't remember if there's another. I think Coruscant maybe. But when it comes down to I think one thing people from the diaspora don't seem to understand is the legacy of imperialism that was actually in the African continent by the European and the Western Asian, mainly the Arabs, the Persians, and a small amount of Ottoman Turks. They implemented certain changes that was kind of more geared towards the erasure of culture and language, and got covered in religion. So I think people are outside, they don't understand that on the continent, a lot of African people, it depends on your family, your mum, your dad, and what's passed down. They don't necessarily learn about the diaspora outside of the continent. And it's no fault of their own. It's the conditions that they live under. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it didn't really take me so long to work out because I had a situation when I was younger. I'm now 42, but this happened in the mid-90s, and in my own family, there's a lot of dark-skinned people and all kind of Africoid face. Most of my family's from St. Lucia, a little bit of Beige and some Indian. But I just made a change when I was very young to not think a certain way because it just did not make any sense. When I see through my eye view, so when you see me, you won't even think I relate to you, all of you, to be honest, just because of the way I look. But I just think sometimes having an understanding of your brother and sister and trying to understand like the history of what it is. I mean, it's not hard to go and find out for yourself, but we are mired in a lot of religious aspects, a lot of cultural erasure. It's it's probably some more things I could probably say, but no, that's only the response I wanted to give to Betty, because I'm only saying this from a more of an outside perspective. Because I'm in Peckham, I grew up around a lot of West Africans, but in my primary school, my infant school, you had a mixture of people because we're all Commonwealth people, we're all Catholic, so there was a much more of a mixture growing up in the 80s, and unlike the last couple of decades. So I realized who I was at a very young age, and then certain things just started to fall into place because from a lot of people from West Indian backgrounds, even if you're getting little education about certain histories, they try. It's that thing about trying to erase that self-hate, that hatred towards what you are, because there's certain elements in the Americas that still survived, and the only elements that I'm not afraid to say that still survive are the religious aspects, spiritual aspects that come from Yoruba and Benin culture. In St. Lucia, you call it Chango. In Brazil, you call it Candomblé. You call it Santeria in Cuba. That's the only, and certain other musical and certain other food aspects that survive. So I think most people, they know, but it's about fully embracing who you are. And I think for a lot of people, it seems to be a very hard thing to do. I don't find it hard at all, but yeah, that's just me, innit?
So go ahead. Cedric.
Yeah. So I like to think about solutions, so we have a better understanding of the situation. So I would think that the solution to the ADOS situation and the CDOS situation is to expand or to try and promote the idea that reparations is not just about those of the who experience the trans, who are descendants of those who experience the transatlantic slave trade, but it should also include colonialism as well.
Mm-hmm.
So you can make the full triangle. You get you get everybody in. But so the fact that ADOS recognized CDOS, which is the Caribbean descendants of slaves, but the fact that they were happy to work with them shows that they were thinking outside the box. But I'm saying they should think even further outside the box and say, look, any reparations plan should include the Americans, ADOS. Yes, leave them as ADOS, organizing for the with their local knowledge for reparations, dealing with the American aspect of slave enslavement, and then CDOS will help share your knowledge and experience with the people from CDOS, so the Caribbeans have their own particular perspective on how reparations should be approached, and the different organizations and so on that are involved in the Caribbean slave trade. So yes, that CDOS should be separate from ADOS, but they're two separate organizations, just departments of the same project, who can then share knowledge and wisdom amongst each other. And then those two departments should also link up with African reparations plans to do with colonialism.
I'm definitely feeling what IC3 just said.
I
For
think,
sure, for sure.
and I think that might correlate with something that I'm about to say. And it's one thing I'm trying to do and try to teach black people to do more is look at patterns, right? And one of the patterns we find is whenever you find some collective maybe making some ground in some kind of venture they're doing, uh, they might ruffle some feathers. But how we react to the ruffled feathers is then we potentially become underminers of that progress. So my fear is if ADOS are actually progressing in some kind of way where they're influencing musicians and influencing politicians and they're getting the discussion about paying for reparations on the table, I think that we should find a way to correlate with that betterment. We should find a way to work with that and make sure that we definitely try to subvert any kind of hard feelings, because we've seen this history before of when they call it crabs in the barrel. Now, I'm not saying that the top crab is worthy of being put down or isn't, but I'm saying that do not look at the individual. Let's look at the processes. Let's look at the patterns. And the pattern is anytime you see collective from black people doing well, if you quote unquote, there seems to be a disagreement that is much more stronger from the black community than it might be from a non-black community. And this is a pattern we have to be very aware of. So I say, when two people are bickering, I look towards the most woke or the most knowledgeable to be the person who's going to try to make it make more sense and make it conclude in a more constructive way. So if anyone is offended by anything the others are doing and they're not ADOS and they're African or Caribbean, whatever it might be, I would say you be the person who tries to find a solution, because there is a value in black collectives progressing. There's a value there. That's my 7 pence piece, whatever. Yeah.
I feel you, mate.
Yes.
That is interesting. Once again, I do see it both over here and the US, where we have one too many egos. That somebody, and it goes both sides. It can be both men and women. I want to be top dog. I want to be the one getting top billing. I want to get my face out there in front of the camera. I want to be the face of this organization. Me, selfish, bloody me. It's despicable. It's despicable. You want to be me about what? What is it your organization has achieved? What is it you've got, what you reckon you want to be in charge of? It's downright low. So once again, I put it out there. I do feel that an ideology needs to be followed rather than a people or person. So simple said, if somebody isn't up to scratch, if you don't want to follow it, well, you need to go about your way. But we're all on this regardless.
I agree.
We're all following ideology.
On code.
And that's what and that's why the whole basis of this broadcast is to promote a lifestyle known as Black Betterment, which is black people helping black people on black issues. It's a lifestyle. There's no leaders. Movements might come from a lifestyle, but literally it's a philosophy, it's an idea, it's a way of thinking that hopefully will be very influential and spread throughout the community. And that way, it isn't about the individual ego, it's about the lifestyle and how the collective operate together for collective betterment. So I agree with you on that 100%, brother.
Thank you.
Salute, bruv.
And I would say as well, it's a very interesting dynamic we have here as well. It's not going to be sorted overnight. We know that we've got a lot of work to do. As you can hear, I'm from Yorkshire. I'm a Black Yorkshire man. Figure it out. But I'm living in London anyway. And don't worry, people. Trust me. An accent sounds as funny as my accent may sound to Uno. Let me tell you that. But anyway, back on track. Yes, being in London for some 10 plus years now, it's still a case, all the organizations, the African organizations I do join, and make sure I make my voice known when I say, look, brothers and sisters, please remember there are other brothers and sisters outside of the M25. Yes. Please remember that.
Very true. No, I agree, man.
Well, this is it. Yeah, this is it, because once again, when we're trying to do our little, our little get-togethers, our little marches, our conferences, when we're going to London, when we're going to Downing Street and all that, and all you're seeing is the brothers and sisters who, the odd little ones who can come outside of London, and then you've got the majority of brothers and sisters within London. It's like, is this it? this ain't gonna move nobody. Come on now. So yeah, I think we all have to do a better job, and I'm talking about both organizations in the north as well, to try and link up, get nationwide. It has to be done, because heck, I can't even say I know of a brother or sister in Scotland, to be honest with you. So imagine that. We're not even talking about Scotland. We're not even talking about Ireland.
Wales.
We're just talking about, hey, there you go. Well, thank you, brother. We're just talking about, Birmingham, Yorkshire, Manchester, and so forth. But yeah, we've got all these other places in the UK which we really need to be hitting and really coming together as a collective.
So what would you say? What ways of this coming together do you envision? Do you mean only get all these people that are spread far and wide to gather together in a conference, or to gather together on a march, or are there any other ways in which people can work together from a distance? What do you think? What views do you have?
So my personal thoughts are, first and foremost, understand and know exactly what Black African organizations are out there. Understand what they're doing. Because once again, as far as I'm concerned, so long as you're in a organization, you're doing something. Just don't be sitting on your damn armchair or on your laptop or on your phone, yap, 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 yap. Oh, this isn't right, that isn't right. Well, what you doing, brother? What you doing, sister? Nothing. Yeah, but you got a lot to say. Nice one. So, like I said, it's understanding who and who is out there, seeing where we can connect the dots. How can I help you, sis? How can I help you, brother? Okay, fine. Well, I can't help you on that, but hey, I know another African organization what can. Oh yeah, by the way, what are your thoughts on in terms of liberation for our rights in the UK? Oh well, we take this stance. Oh yeah, similar to ours. Okay. Get the conversations going first and foremost. We don't have to go in heavy-handed. This is us. This is all we're doing. If you're not rocking with us, to hell with you. No. Get a nice conversation going.
Exactly.
Network.
Okay, so much like we're here now on this stream, I perceive that what Rap Raven is doing here is kind of encouraging a think tank. So people come together and we're thinking and discussing issues. Then I suppose something like Dina Kai is doing the ad pack, where they're actually trying to get members to consolidate to then what's the word? Gather the power of the voting body of people, so people can vote as a collective, Black African collective, and influence voting more effectively. Then you have you heard of the Taking the Initiative Party?
Brother, ironically, I'm actually, well, what I'm trying not to do out of respect of Rap Raven, unless he says I can tell you what part is what organization I'm a part of, that's why I'm being very careful with saying,
well, no, brother, I mean,
parties.
Yeah, no, brother, but by this point, we can the conversations can expand. So if it correlates with Betterment and stuff, you can go there if to help you.
Okay. Yes, so yes, brother, I am actually a part of the TTIP, Taking the Initiative Party.
Oh, right.
So that, as we know, is a fledgling party. What we're looking for is people like you and I to be put in Parliament, representing ourselves alongside the downtrodden. So like you said, obviously we're fully aware. Oh, sorry, for those who don't know, it's been founded by Charles Gordon. So we also are still getting our feet on the ground, as you can imagine, for any fledgling organization. I'm also part of the reparations march team as well. So, and alongside the Preston Windrush group. So, like you said, I'm getting my butt out there and doing something about it.
Wow.
Don't get me wrong, it's not bloody easy. But once again, I'm not going to be one of those Black people. I'm 41 years old right now. I'm not going to be sitting there. Oh, you should be doing this. You should be doing that. Shut up. Stop the talking and start walking. Come on now. because I don't want to be bringing kids into this world where they look upon me, yo, Popo, what you do? What did you do to put me in a better position? Well, I watched the real McCoy reruns. Really, really. That's all you're bringing to the table. No, sir. Me not do that. I am the first generation from my parents, grandparents from Jamaica. First generation in the UK. If I can't plant something solid here, not just for my lineage, but for all of honor who is black in this country, African in this country, to say we belong. We pay our way. We belong. We have our voice. We belong. No, I'm not going to be that voice what goes off into the distance. No, you're going to hear me. You're going to see me. So that's my 2 pence on that part.
Okay.
I feel you, mate.
Sister Betty, is there anything you want to chime in, Sister Betty?
In relation to what was said.
I guess where I think what IC3 has done is he's I guess found us ways to actually discuss things where we're putting a solution based on it. So I think what you were saying, you were very understanding of. So if I can summarize the issue with the ADOS, and we're analyzing them so we don't repeat challenges here, is we agree, people agree with the what they're trying to do, but they disagree with the method of how they've interacted with other black people when they've gone about doing it.
Yeah.
That's okay. So this is the thing, and I so yeah, okay, cool, and that's what I'm.
Any other solutions?
Yeah. So
Suggestions?
So for me, if I had to place a solution on I repeat myself again, it's the solution of that having like certain triggers in our mind to really step back and go, am I openly disagreeing with a black collective, right? And if I am, why am I doing this? Because this is something that is consistent, and in the long run, it might be challenging. So I'm putting forward that if we do have any disagreements with any black collectives that come up in London or England with how they practice, it's our duty to try to contact them directly to talk privately to them about, maybe how we see things, or maybe, a way that might be more beneficial to go about operating that doesn't necessarily undermine other black groups or cause friction with other black groups, if possible.
I think the Caribbean should get behind their own reparations movement. The one that is called CARCOM.
Yeah. That's very active.
CARICOM.
That includes Antigua, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, is it Guyana, Jamaica, St. Kitts, St. Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago. Do you know what I mean? That's a lot of nations. I think there's actually, because it says on their website, it says 12, but I think there's 14 now, all trying to get reparations. So I think people should focus on that instead of, if you're Caribbean, instead of focus on the African Americans, get behind your own movement, which is already in place. They've already taken Britain to court, from what I know.
Can I chime in really quickly, please?
Right.
I don't know if anybody here listens to Galaxy Radio, but
Yes.
right, that Galaxy Radio, if you're saying about things built around them, they have been going on reparations marches since I can remember. They've always been in this, if you know what I'm saying. They, as far as like the only group of people that are really down for the cause, they've been doing this for a long time. Outside of that, not too sure. I think everything else is more upper echelon, like CARICOM and certain other things. I like to see a bit more collectiveness, but at the end of the day, I still have a problem with, African Americans getting their own, and I think they should. They really should. people from the continent. I think maybe people from the continent is probably a little bit complicated. You know, I don't know if you have to be part of the African Union to do that. Personally, I don't think you should get involved if you're part of the African Union. But anyway, that's a whole other story. And yeah, just I think I don't think there's no problem. There's no harm in asking, or no harm in fighting for it. But
Right.
yeah, that's my take.
And,
You know?
and I guess that brings this down to somewhere we're gonna go, and it's something that affects us here as well. This concept of historical loyalties, in the sense of, so the question that was put on the actual the links to get to this show is, should you negotiate with suspected anti-black racists when it comes to, like, getting black betterment and black collective betterment? And I think that's something we should maybe talk about as well. Like, do we suffer from a way of always be traditionalists, as in, like, because we've done something this way, we won't think outside the box for trying to get a solution. So for example, the reason why before, when I started, I was talking about having black betterment points, in the sense of, there's a person who's dedicated their life to helping black people, and they have a new idea that might work, but that new idea might seem a bit odd, and i.e. Ice Cube talking to Trump, whatever it might be, right? But then, if this guy has a proven history of trying to find solutions, maybe we should hear him out and go with him to see, could this actually be the new thing, because he's demonstrated that he's dedicated to these kind of concepts.
I mean, I don't have a problem with people being savvy in the conversation, because the whole idea that somebody like Ice Cube is going to talk to Donald Trump, to be honest, he might just be trying to poke holes in and see what's opening up. He wants to see what it is, blah blah blah. Does he have to be a representation for black people in America? Look, for me personally, no. As a person who's bought death certificate, lethal injection, and his early work, I mean, he's far away from that ideology. I just think his whole message as a black American, because let's face it, why not push for something? Killer Mike, it has he put the message out there about investing in black banks. Look, if it took an entertainer to do that, so be it. Why it has to be entertainers, I don't know. I'm just thinking of Malcolm X right now for some particular reason, but at the end of the day, it is about action and doing stuff. Exactly what brother Darren was saying. It's about actually walking the walk and talking the talk and walking the walk, and actually making things actually happen. So I don't know. One last thing as well. Most of these people who play politics are not only experienced in politics and political jargon, they're experienced in life. So there is a difference between playing chess and playing checkers. You don't want to be looking naive to somebody you might perceive as an idiot, because quite frankly, they might not be the idiot that you think they are. I.e., example, Boris Johnson. Boris Johnson was the mayor of London. He played a buffoon role for many years. And I knew from that day that he would become Prime Minister of the UK, because, like with most things, there's a process in order for certain people to get pushed through to the forefront. And then his floppy haired ass became Prime Minister. We've had, maybe 3 unelected Prime Ministers in the last however long. And then this twat becomes Prime Minister. Same thing with the orangutan called Donald Trump. He told everybody what it was. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, I watched the election night, and they were saying 60% of white women voted for Trump. I mean, I don't know why they put that statistic out there, but hey, all information sometimes ain't bad information, is it? I was happy to know. I just think, like, look, I don't want to stray in the conversation, because I go off and sometimes into some other corners, but I do think as black people, we need to this is the right time to really make things happen. We can't sit on our hands any longer. We we just cannot. Black love does not mean hatred towards anybody else, and anybody that thinks that, I don't care. You know what I mean? But we just can't. We can't be so. What's the word? Complacent.
So
We just can't.
would you say there's a value in over here, black people like holding their vote until there's actually policies that directly mention black people?
I think a lot of black people in this country, and you know what? It doesn't matter whether you're from Africa or the Caribbean. The whole idea of Britishness is so ingrained in us that I don't think we really realize. That's why there's a lot of confusion and a lot of hatred between us as a group. We're very complacent in this country. We're not really trying to. We've become like the working class white people that were calling our grandparents and our aunts and uncles gollywog. We've become extremely complacent. The people that are fighting are there doing their thing, or the people who are joining the movement or doing whatever they're doing, they're there. But for me, I want, even for myself, I'm in a very interesting position in my life. I know I could do better. I know that for a fact. So I don't want to come and talk all this grandiose talk, and you know what I mean. I'm not that dude in regards to, you know, whatever. But just there's just a complacency with most black people in this country in regards to being British, and I don't think like we really want to be real with ourselves. I don't think we do. I think yeah, you know, we're British. So for the British ones that here and live here, born here, the ones who come from foreign and they're just like, you know, fresh off the boat, you're talking like a white person from back in the day, blood. That it makes a difference for me because I was born in the late 70s and lived through the 80s and the 90s, so I know what it is. I didn't even grow up north. Up north for a black person must have been worse with the anti-Paki bashing and also the nigger bashing and Paki bashing that used to go up, including the police. I know there was some bad shit happening in London, you know, but it's like, yo, we can't be complacent anymore. We just can't. It's just where we have to get involved in politics, local politics, building organizations. Who cares what people think? I don't care if you're the same race as me. I don't care. We got to make something happen proper. So much so that all these other people will take notice and whatever hate that they spew. Because I seen, bro, Raven, I seen you on COE, you know, and you have a very simple message, and it caused a lot of anger, especially those who are non-black. I smile every time because I think their reaction is funny. It makes me laugh. It's a lot of hatred, but it makes me laugh. I don't know. I got a twisted sense of humor anyway. I don't care. Good. I'm glad that they hate. But for the black people though, who come against you, I'm like, yeah, I don't get it, but it's a very interesting situation.
Yeah. So two things before we've got a new guest, man. We also have to introduce. So is it Shireen? Am I reading that right?
Hi, yeah, Shireen.
Well, welcome, Shireen. Well, you've joined now. Is there anything you would like to add to this conversation, or would you like us to just bring you in as we talk along?
Same, but I just had a thought with Ice Cube entering the ring. A few months ago, Kanye, he kind of set up an abysmal political campaign for leadership, didn't he? And
in South Carolina.
Yeah, and I feel that Ice Cube kind of wants to represent that rapper who can enter, who can sit at the table, who doesn't always depicted as having mental issues or whatever, but he wants to come across as a serious black brother rapper, sit at the table with the president, and at least as far as he's concerned, that's his version of iconology. It's just a thought I had while the brother before was talking about just Ice Cube and stuff. So I don't know if anyone wants to comment on that. The fact Kanye was just seen as a mess, and Ice Cube just felt he just had to kind of edge forward onto the main stage.
Well, yeah. So I mean, with brother Kanye, there might be some challenges there that I think has been reported, but I think he's kind of like, I wouldn't say political agenda, but he's kind of like vocal tone has fluctuated back and forth through the years. But and I guess for many creative musicians, that's quite normal. I guess like to have different like ideas and they jump straight on them. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if there's. I don't know from the brothers and the sisters from America have to answer that. But I don't know if there's anything he's bringing or saying a past record that can really shake anything. But what I would say is this: right now, what is worse than like what's the options outside of Kanye when it comes to being president? Like when it comes, like. You know what I mean? Like, what would it be that bad if Kanye became the president? With what they have at the moment, and like
with
I
his
just
whole
say-
wife. No man.
right? So, and that's like that.
Razor.
That's well, that's yeah. I guess that's something that I was talking about before as well, as in like the choices we make when it comes to speaking for Black people, and when you add up, everyone's like Black Betterment points, like. Is this person talking for us, or are they a collaborator or a critic, right? Because their lifestyle doesn't seem to correlate with Black Betterment. They don't seem to like they're here speaking on Black issues, but their lifestyle and the things they do outside that doesn't seem to really mesh with the things we're doing.
Exactly.
One thing I would say, this before I forget, I was going to say it before, what you're talking about me being in speaking school and a lot of Black people not being synchronized. And one thing I would say is that I recommend there's a value in coming with strategies of how to synchronize people. So what I would say is when we were just briefly talking about reparations, and what I would say is I would use the concept of reparations and the facts that non-Black people or Europeans or white people do not take such a claim serious, it seems, as a method to unify Black people. And how I mean it is by saying like, okay, until we get reparations, we're going to only focus on Black issues. So if you want us to not focus on Black issues, give us reparations. But until then, and then what we do is when we are speaking, we're saying, no, we want to do all the things that people are suggesting. However, we have this one demand in it. Let's talk about reparations.
But can I just say something about reparations? I think until people actually understand exactly what it is, as Brother Darren did mention earlier, it's a concept that is it's easy to understand, but there's so many different facets of it that there are so many different camps. So some people want the money, some people want land justice, some people want just justice, some people want their communities to improve for Africans, and that's inverted commas. There's so many different aspects to reparations, and until we have a unified plan and strategy, which will be quite tough, but it can be done locally. It can be done borough-wide, it could be done city-wide, it could, you know what I mean? We can kind of mirror the plans that are done at central government and the mayor's office, just to kind of have an understanding of the strategies that work and the language that is understood as well, because that's another thing. If you don't speak the language, you can be at the table, but you will not be heard.
Right. I think, and I agree with these concepts. And how I would add further to that is you tend to find that when everyone is on the same page, you have more bartering power. And if you are divided in your needs and you're not really organized, then there is no need for a person to take anything you're saying serious. So I think that any way we can to get Black people working with Black people is necessary, and highlighting that so for example, the brother just mentioned me speaking out in public and then having not only Black people but also non-Black people really aggressive at the fact that I'm recommending that Black people fix Black issues. And we use those footage, that reality, to show other Black people that, look, no one has your best interests at heart. Like, regardless of how much you love this individual person, collectively, there is no people group we're going to dedicate time and effort to actually change your life or to improve, fix the challenges that has been forced upon you. The only people that's going to change it is Black people. So
Yeah.
we have to be synchronized. And one strategy to be synchronized is we have a request that is, or a demand, or however you want to word it. And until someone even takes it halfway serious, we're just going to do our own thing until then. So if you want us to do something else, take this demand serious. But until then, we're focusing on this.
May I chime in there?
I certainly can.
So yeah, it's a very interesting one when we talk about, should we entertain possible white supremacists when we're looking to get things done. The fact is, whilst we're well, the funny thing is, we can't even really say, even if it was in Africa, we would have our own way. As look at the apartheid there. Just look at that. That just goes to show. So yeah, regardless, we have to work with those who are in power. I mean, look at the passing the Civil Rights Bill. That lovely person by the name of Lyndon B. Johnson, when he was the president, Dr. King had to work very closely with him. And what did that lovely man say after he signed the bill? Excuse the N-word, everyone. I'll have these niggers voting for us for the next 100 years.
Wow.
So he wasn't bothered about signing it. It was a case of, we're still going to be in power and we still can pull the rug up from under their feet. So unfortunately, we do have to work with these undesirable people until we get our weight up and we really have a force behind us. And our lovely sister Julia Davison, she's a counsellor as well. She's also a part of the Windrush National group and team as well. So she knows only too well our fight and struggle, especially when she's been going through Parliament as well. So she's been putting some very good cogent points in the chat, just like everybody else as well. So I thank her for also joining us there as well. But ultimately we will have to work with these lovely people until we are in a position where we really have power and are really recognized and are revered at that point.
But we've got the power. The power is there. We're just not taking it. And we're just not having the realization of self that we need to have in order to have the belief system that we can actually be unified and we can actually move forward as a race. So, and it's true. Even the carpet pulls from underneath us. It's about foresight and it's about planning and it's about education and it's about just, being able to bring people on a journey of understanding where we're at, because if that doesn't happen, you're just going to have just confusion. And like with this whole COVID thing, and like children learning in unison, or even teenagers at college learning at a specific pace, COVID comes and then all these children are now kind of like at different educational levels and and they're in their attainment, and it's just to cause even more confusion. Because it's funny, because before COVID, when I'm going off the point a bit, Darren, sorry. But before COVID at school, there was more of my daughter, she's at primary school. There was like more parents, there was the Parents Association. There were, groups within the school where it allowed you to kind of have conversations with different people. I've gone back now with my daughter and you find that the upper classes are talking to the upper classes. The middles are talking to the middles. The working are talking to the others, to the working. The blacks are talking. So it's kind of caused isolation and segregation, which in some respects, if it's used in the correct way and form, can, motivate and inspire. But if not, just like what Darren's saying, it can cause even more confusion, because you find that a lot of people aren't on the same level when it comes to knowing Black history or Black thought or even black ideologies, Black love, just even like the concept of Black, and we've had a little spate of Black Lives Matter, but that doesn't mean that, it doesn't mean that everybody's finally had a revelation. It just means that you've had a prick, and it's up to you how deep you want that prick to go. But But you know, as if I speak for myself, I'm part of a local activist group in West London, and yeah, we have local councillors sit on at our table, always sitting on the same table together. People from even sometimes government, and you have to be able to, you know, to have conversations, be able to influence. It is about influence, and I think that the more we can influence, the more we encourage our people to come to the table and be part of the current conversation, that's when we start to move forward. Because I find that it's only until the bulldozers are in and they're smashing down and the regeneration is happening, that's when I feel that our people are like, oh my God, did you see that? Where there's been signs up around the local area to say there's a demolition happening or planning permission and stuff. But we just miss all the messages because we're just caught up in other things. Sorry, and I went on a bit. And I kind of,
that's fine.
but, you know, there's a lot in there, but you know, it's all there. All the information is there. The power is there. We just have to literally believe in self and take it.
So before brother jumps in, I just have to say to the new speakers, which is Razor and Shireen, this is a show where every week a guest comes on and they open a particular topic that they discuss with myself, and they give like a brief intro or presentation, and then as they start this topic, we invite others to jump in to add their 10 pence piece and to have a back and forth. So because you guys are new, you're very welcome to join next week's show, the week after show, as starting guests with your own particular topic. So the things you above were saying you wanted to go somewhere else but you couldn't, but by all means, any topic you would like to bring up that correlates with Black Betterment, you can, and we can arrange after the show for you to do it if you like. So, but now I've said that, brother Darren, I think you wanted to say.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks for that, brother Raven. So yeah, Shireen, what you said, I can't disagree with you there. We've always had the power. However, your last part there, in terms of us coming together as one, well, there you have. You've hit the nail on the head. Sister Betty, if I'm not mistaken, you was on last week's show as well, was you not?
Yeah, yes, Darren.
So there you go. So we both spoke of critical mass.
Yeah.
There has to be a critical
That was a good
mass.
conversation.
Indeed. So, like you said, we've always had the power. We still have the power. But unless we have that critical mass, what comes together, we're just going to keep flailing in the wind.
But what was the
that's,
percentage of?
yeah.
Was it that 30% critical mass?
Yeah. 30% is the minimum what 30% is the minimum it takes to create a chain reaction. And
I really felt, listen to the recording, and I really resonated with what you were saying, because my ideology is not everybody made it onto the ark. You know, not everybody made it onto the ark, and it was those who got the message, those who were prepared, those who had a different belief system. You know, they're the ones who made it through, and that's what happens in societies all of the time. You know, there's always a majority and a minority, or even like just a segmented group that makes a lot of progress, and they look back and everyone's just where they left them. You know, and this is the thing, we really do have to get into this educational process with our children. You know, like if we look at the Chinese, and even like the Asians, as in the Indians, and the way that, you know, they understood that they needed to have their industrial revolution in order for them to be current, be at the forefront financially, politically, and taken seriously at the table. They're going through theirs. The Chinese they even superseded America. And like when I speak to Chinese parents, sorry, Darren, I'm going off it again. It's my first show, so please bear with me. But I had my daughter had a Chinese friend, and she said that the son, like, they get home at 9 o'clock in the evening because they have the education, and then they'll have swimming, they'll have piano, they'll have violin, they have all of these things, and the child's day doesn't stop until late into the night. And when you calculate those hours, that is a strategy that the Chinese used in order to catch up hours-wise. So they didn't do a 9 to 4 or a 12 to 4. They doubled up on the hours. in order for them to progress quickly. And I just feel that there really needs to be a drive for education and languages. Definitely, in order for our children to proceed in music. There needs to be a music program. We just need to just devise a serious educational program and literally just lift out the 3% of our populace in the UK. I don't know the percentage for children, but we literally have to carry our children. So whether their intellectual language is music, or it's, learning 4 languages or whatever, or it's even just 2, and the mathematical language, science language, the law, we have to make them all-rounders and more confident, so that they can come through and not go the other way like a lot of the generations we've seen, like first, second, third generation British black kids go through, the system, and it's just like there's more confusion,
Sister, I would say that's an amazing topic, and we're gonna be rounding up at the moment here, because we usually do 2 hours. So what I would say is, when we do round off, if you and Brother Ray could just stay behind in the forum, and maybe we could exchange Instagrams or emails, whatever it is. I don't know people what they use now. And if and then by that sounds like a topic that could be next week or the week after. To be honest,
Okay.
you meant, even you're talking about what to teach children and stuff, that because I always make notes, and that's something that is an important topic that comes up, like what are we teaching our children. And I believe, my understanding is teaching children the value of actually working with other black people for betterment, because if we don't do that, in my understanding, whatever the system tells them to do, they'll do, and the system isn't telling them to do that. So that's probably why we're not as organized as maybe we should be. Who knows? But what we should do now, can we all give our final thoughts on today, and then we'll log off. So and Brother Dan will go last because it's his show. So who would like to sign off with their so far?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I'll go first. I just want to say, yes, it was a really good show. Yeah, I would really be interested in the children, what to teach the children, because I always struggle with the question is, when do you tell your children about racism, white supremacy? How do you tell them, how do you explain it? How do you explain slavery? Because you can't give them all the gory details at such a young age. And I think it's quite a burden sometimes as well. Because I think sometimes children not always understand. Like, for example, because if you say that these white people did this and they enslaved, and the white people that they're surrounded by are nice and kind to them, it can make the child sort of resent the parent until they get old enough to really understand. Do you know what I mean? So I think it would be a good show to talk about that.
I mean, the way you put it there makes it sound great. I mean, write that down, by the way. That's very good. So I'll write that down. So who else? Sorry, was someone jumping in? Did I interrupt? Sorry, who was jumping in? Was that you, Brother Razor? Was that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll be definitely there for next time. Because if I was to reflect on my own upbringing as far as education wise, the only I don't know why I'm thinking of Pink Floyd, but that song sticks in my head so much, especially coming up to when I was a teenager and going through the whole education system. There was always a change in the education system. I don't know if anybody remembers Brick in the Wall, but the video had lots of kids being put through the midsummer.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So it's crazy because my youngest brother he was born in 96. I've got 2 younger brothers. And it was all kind of chopping and changing of the education system. In regards to racism and stuff like that, I think for the brother that lived with me, it was a gradual process. But I will say this though. Finding comfort in reading, it works. Having like encyclopedias, having books, having the idea of reading a book it's a slight confidence booster. But again, it depends on your home situation, because you can literally get anything from a book. So yeah. there was a conversation that I wanted to have about like how we're living, as far as like, I mean, I know it's the gentrification conversation's probably been done to death, but I would definitely like to see what Sister Shireen what has to say next week for sure.
Yeah. So what I would say is both of you are welcome, because we usually have two guests that bring up two topics. So you're both welcome to start next week with your separate topics that you'll give your presentation for. Then we have a freeway discussion after each one, and then at the end we invite everyone on to join in for the mass discussion. So that's if you want, but staying after we log out and we can exchange contact.
No doubt, mate. No doubt.
Brother,
But it's been a good conversation today, and I was fretting about coming on because I like to keep myself to myself. But yeah, I enjoyed myself today for sure.
Well, just so you know, because I'll be very frank. When people see me in Speaker's Corner, they could be very put off to see black people and non-black people like hurling very angry tones towards me for trying to get black people together. But what I try to do is I try to have the show not necessarily reflect the reality of where I'm at when I'm out in the streets and stuff. This show is about solutions and black people coming together to work on challenges and to define betterment. So hopefully within this show, that kind of interaction won't necessarily exist, but I might speak too soon. But if we follow the 4Ds, discipline, dedication, dignity, and discernment, when we're talking, then hopefully we won't go through those challenges that those people on the streets don't really have those kind of values. But yes, so brother, I see free. Did you want to jump in something there? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll just finish off by saying excellent stream as always, Rat Raven. Very good topics discussed, and this keep it going, keep up the good work, all, and keep sharing. It's a good think tank. It's got its own nice, cool flavor. No shouting. Good. Keep it up.
I believe that means Shireen. Anything you'd like to conclude? You came in later on, but your opinion is still valid.
Some interesting depictions and understandings of where we're at and where we're going and where we need to be. And I think with more discussion and just reasoning, because that's what it's about. It's about sitting around a table, reasoning, coming to some sort of understanding, and then executing those understandings through decisions and action. And hopefully we can build an influence, because that's what we're trying to do here, and open up the understanding of our people. And I just want to say thanks to Darren for the invite, really. And it's great hearing some well-educated brothers and sisters, coming with their own thoughts that are different, but, graspable.
And I guess, brother Darren, your turn to give your final thoughts.
Indeed. So once again, it was, can we work with suspected white supremacists? It's not that can we have to. We don't have a choice, as I'm sure everybody would say they've clearly seen. In terms of this thing of choose the lesser of two evils, no, scrap that nonsense. Scrap it. You can either be an independent or create a party. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be quick. But please stop with that rhetoric of let's choose off lesser of the two evils. We need to come away from that. If they're voting in off Boris and Trump isn't showing the world that actually now we're getting from the stage of liberal so-called possible white supremacists to now out and out suspected white supremacists, well, here it is. They've gone so far beyond it, they're just voting in any idiots. Anybody can say the thing. So like you said, we need to start coming together with our strength, understanding this thing of unity is nice, but just remember our forefathers before us couldn't do it, so that is a bit of a dream. All we can do is work with those of us who want to work with us. Thank you, Brother
Thank
Raven.
you. All right, and with that, guys, we're gonna sign out. Please, you guys, wait in the forum. I'm gonna talk to you afterwards. But thank you, guys. We'll be back next week again at 10 p.m. Friday, same time. Black people helping Black people on Black issues, trying to find solutions, promoting the lifestyle Black betterment. See you then. Thank you very much. All right.